It's a sad day. The hawthorns at the side of our house have been taken out by the developers, and then there'll be houses there looking straight into our garden. But we are going to get the wood for the log burner, and I've asked them to fire the wood chip up against the fence so that I can go around and collect that for the paths and what have you. But I would much prefer the trees stayed. So we collected a lot of wood chip, and it's good. We would much rather the trees were there, obviously, but there's not a lot we can do about that. But let me show you the wood chip that we collected. So got all this in the buckets around the place, and I've managed to do the paths of the veg plot. So that's good. And we've done this bed under there, still got a bit over there, and we've done the beds all the way along the garden, and the half moon bed at the end. I'll walk you up there and show you. And we've got a lot of wood, so that bed as well, that's done. So I'll turn the camera around and show you the wood that we got. So these big stumps that we're obviously going to have to cut up, and all of this, I was the other side of the fence yesterday chucking it all through, so all this is going to have to be cut up at the weekend and processed, and then we've got all that as well. So a lot of wood to cut up, log and process, and it'll get added to that pile over there. That's next winter's wood. This winter's wood over there is looking pretty depleted, but I am pleased I've got these paths done because they were a bit rubbish. So nice path there, and I'm just gonna at some point put a piece of wood there and a cross like that, just finish this end off and fill that in. And the polytunnel path is all done as well now, so that's good. So it's been a week of paths really, what with this and remaking the path there and putting that raised bed in. So yeah, happy days. I've got to put those bricks across there, and then that bit can get filled with some wood chip. Hopefully it'll stop the weeds a bit. So yeah, bittersweet really. We would much rather the trees were there, but then we have got the wood and the wood chip. So there's nothing that we can do about it. No point going on and on about it, you know. It's just such a shame that the planners in the council allow absolutely everything to be cut down and built on, you know. I mean, for the sake of a few more metres, those trees could have stayed where they were. They would be pretty old. They were Hawthorn, so hardwood, slow growing. I suppose at the weekend I might see if I can count some of the rings on one of the trunks and see how old they were, but I'd say they'd be 100 years or more, but we'll see. But they were going to get cut down, so we might as well have the wood, and it was an agreement I made with the developers when I was battling over the fence with them. So they've honoured their part of the agreement, so you know, that's all I can ask, I suppose. But yeah, to save a few metres, build on an extra few metres, every tree's been cut down. All the back of where we live was trees, and yeah, all gone. And I've noticed this year we haven't seen the hedgehog, we haven't seen the fox, we haven't seen the I've not even had the robin come back to the garden this year, not seen it. It was nesting in the garden last year, but just not seen it this year, so it's a shame. And I know the council and the developers will say, well, we're going to plant more trees than we cut down. Maybe you will, but it won't be a woodland like there was, and probably not indigenous trees either, probably some fast growing stuff from another country, but who knows. But it's not got the country feel that it used to have living here, so, and they say that's progress. I guess that depends on which side of progress you stand, I guess. But, so I was going to get out and move a load of that wood up to the top ready for chainsawing, but it started to rain. It's blooming cold today, real cold. I think it might even turn to snow. So a couple of days ago I came down and covered up the seed potatoes with some fleece, because it's getting quite cold on a night at the moment. We had a hard frost again last night, but they seem to be okay. They seem to be pretty good. Still chitting away, but definitely not going to put them out yet, too early. And I was going to sow some more seeds, but again, with the weather the way it is, I'm just going to hang fire a few days or a week and see what the forecast says, because I'm limited on space indoors, so I really need to bring some of those that are indoors outdoors before I sow any more, because it's coming up to time to sow tomatoes and cucumbers and all that sort of stuff. March, so yeah, it's nearly spring, but very cold for the time of year. Well, not cold for the time of year, but too cold to be thinking about putting anything outside yet. Little project I'm going to do that's probably going to come up in the next week or two is build a cold frame for things like the onions and brassicas seedlings to come out and go under a cold frame. So that's a project that I'm going to be doing fairly soon, because I've got some old doors, glass doors from a cabinet that was in the house, and I thought I'd turn those into a cold frame outside. So feel a bit deflated over the trees, but also happy that I'll be able to do my paths and that, so a bit confusing really. We have got some plum trees along that fence where the trees were. Is it plum? No, it's not plum, it's a cherry and apple trees along there. And obviously they were in the shade quite a bit from those hawthorns. So maybe now they will grow more faster. It has let a lot of light into the garden, I must say, now they've gone. So maybe that will give our fruit trees a better chance. But change, it is what it is, and you don't get anywhere talking to the planning department. It's a complete waste of time. All about targets, housing targets that the government sets, and profit at the end of the day. It's about profit, targets and profit. But a lot of the local residents are not happy with things that have been going on. But they've lived here for a long, long time, longer than us. And you know, our neighbours, for example, have been here 40 odd years, and it was all woods and fields and things like that, and slowly but surely everything is getting built on. And then they wonder why we have floods. If you concrete it and tarmac everything, well, the water's got nowhere to go, is it? And then they don't dredge the rivers and brooks and streams anymore, because we might disturb frogs and newts and all that. So they fill up with sludge, and the rainwater's just got nowhere to go anymore. It seems to be a bit of a self-defeating policy, all of this environmental stuff, really. We seem to be making things worse. I agree, the climate's changing, yeah, I agree with that. I think it is changing. It's certainly changed since I was a kid. I'm not convinced that it's all down to man causing those changes. I think a lot of it is just a cycle that the world goes through. But they can't tax you on that. They can only tax you on environmental issues. I mean, I went into Birmingham today to do a job, and so you drive in down the A38, for those of you that know it, into Birmingham. I think it's about 6 lanes wide, and they've got what they call the clean air zone in the centre of Birmingham. So you have to pay to drive into Birmingham now, like you do in London and a lot of other cities around the world, because that makes the air cleaner. But it doesn't, does it? We all know it doesn't. It's just a tax, and it doesn't make the air cleaner at all. You know, I mean, you've got the centre of Birmingham, and you've got a ring road around Birmingham. You can drive around the ring road without paying, but the centre is a clean air zone. So the air from the ring road obviously doesn't blow into the centre of Birmingham at all. It only blows outwards. It's just a tax. And they're talking about introducing a chimney tax again, I think, for people like us that have got a log burner. Well, let me tell you, we haven't put our central heating, our gas-fired central heating on for 2 years. It's just not been on, because the log burner heats pretty much the whole house, and we only need to put on 4 or 5 logs in an evening, you know, a night. That's it. So yeah, they want to get rid of gas boilers. They want to get rid of petrol and diesel. So they want everything to be electric. Absolutely everything to be electric. Your vehicle, your heating with a heat pump, your cooking, your hot water, everything's going to be electric. And then what will they do with the price of electric? That's right, it will go through the roof. Because they've got you then, haven't they? They've got you by the short and curlies, and that's the only energy that you can use, and therefore they can price it how they want to price it. And in the UK, we're living in cloud cuckoo land. I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the UK we're in cloud cuckoo land. We don't produce enough electricity to do all of this stuff. And as for electric vehicles, I have a customer who installs the charging points, and even they say it's just not going to work. The grid can't handle it, the cables aren't big enough, the transformers aren't big enough, and we don't produce enough electricity. The only way to produce enough electricity is now nuclear. Even the green environmental people agree with that. You can't get it all from solar and wind. It's got to be, some of it has got to come from nuclear. And having worked in the nuclear industry, I can assure you that has its own huge problems with regard to waste and disposing of waste and waste transfer. Where do you put it, etc. What if a terrorist gets hold of it? Things like that. So there's no real answer to this, I don't think. And cutting down trees isn't one of them. And that's, as you drive into Birmingham, they've put the big signs up saying clean air zone, and to make sure you can see the sign, they've cut the trees down. So they've cut down the trees that clean the air so that you can see the sign that says you're entering a clean air zone and therefore you have to pay our tax. For my vehicle it's £8 to drive into Birmingham. World's gone mad, absolutely mad. And yeah, I don't know where it's going to be in another, when my lads my age, for example. I dread to think. I doubt I'll be here then, but I dread to think. So there we are, guys, a little bit of a whinge today. It's as I say, it's a bittersweet thing. We've had some stuff that we needed, some wood and some wood chip, but we've lost the trees, that privacy, and a bit of a rant about things in general. So there we are, lads, guys. I'll see you next time. Cheers.